Alright, here it is. A cozy home build for homebody. I know you said apartment, or if you're watching this apartment or house, and I decided to do a fixer upper build. Just because when I saw this home, it felt like a very cozy home and it felt like a very homely. I don't know, I just got that vibe from it. So I just figured might as well just do this fixer upper, with the aesthetic of a cozy and homebody. So for me personally, given that obviously homebody, I thought to add plenty of activities to do at the house. So each room basically has something, some kind of activity that is for a homebody. Like there is the dining room that I put with bookshelves, obviously for reading, you could do at home, cooking, baking. What else I did? Lots of plants, but that's more of a decorative choice. But obviously you water them at home. That's not really a homebody thing, but yeah. So I thought it was important to do those activities. Also, floor plan. I kept it exactly as is, well, at least for the first floor. On the second floor, I did switch it up just because there was that just thin, narrow hallway for all the rooms. I just felt a bit too crowded. I also did extend the home about like 2 grid spaces, I believe. But other than that, the first floor is not really changed as much. But yeah, it's a bit of a different layout because you see the entryway, and then the room that is pink currently becomes the dining room. This yellow walls becomes the kitchen. This right here is a little entryway, and then this garage I turned into the living room. I just figured, like, if you're a homebody, have guests over, I feel like the living room is more like maybe they have dinner parties. That's why the dining room would be right by the entrance, and then people they're more familiar and comfortable with, closer friends and family and such, can go in further and be invited to the actual living space. That was just like a mental, I don't know, that was just, I had that idea in my head for whatever reason. And yeah, I also got rid of this, how there's this panels here. While I liked the look of it, I ended up going with all brick walls. I was trying to find, not trying to find, but trying to go for a different brick, just to give it that, because it is a fixer upper, I want to give it that new look. But I ended up keeping the exact same brick because I liked the look of it, but it just wasn't, I don't know, it just felt a little bit too cold, like too much of a cool tone. And I realized how much I miss the warmth of the original brick used in this build. So I ended up just going back to how it was. What else did I do? I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, this porch here, I was really trying to make it work because it stood out a bit, and it's not that it's off-centered, but the way the positioning is, I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep it because, again, I wasn't sure yet at this point what I wanted the floor plan to be. But because I kept it exactly the same, I just kept that front porch area there. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else I've done. Oh, so in the backyard, I went ahead and added a barbecue, more gardening planters, an easel, like I said. Again, very home things you can do, activities at home for a homebody. So I just figured that'd be a nice addition because I feel like this would want to be a place obviously you'd want to be at. As you know, if you watch anyone watching, if any other homebodies out there, your place is very, because you stay there often, it's something you want to decorate and have, make you feel happy. Because I was originally going to do this build, I had inspiration images of how I want to do the interior design, but because I was going for more of a neutral tone, and I just felt that because you're gonna, home is such a, for a homebody, home is, your place to be. So I figured might as well bring as much life and color and warmth into it, just because, obviously you're gonna be spending time there. So I ended up adding lots of color, and well, not too much color. There's a very warm like palette, but yes, there is color. And I ended up liking it a lot. I think it's, I was really struggling. That's why this video came out later in the week. But I felt that because I wasn't really sure how to carry over the palette, because in the downstairs palette I feel like is pretty congruent, but then the upstairs it gets a little tricky with the bedrooms. I wasn't sure if I don't know, I'm still iffy about it, or I was iffy about it rather. But I think I'm happy with it. I think it's got that warmth and color that I was trying to get across. But yeah. Also, this build was the reason why I wanted to do this fixture up there is because I felt that if you're gonna, be at home and you have your own space, it's very nice to have, a view with it, because to have this backyard base is really nice. So also made sure and added a gate. I know it's just like a little detail thing. Well, obviously the Sims will be able to walk out of it, but maybe they have a pet. I did give them a pet bed. I figured maybe a cat for this person. But I mean, there's definitely enough space if they wanted a dog or even a horse. But I'm not sure where they would fit the stable. You'd have to place one down if you wanted to add a pet. I've actually never played The Sims with a horse as a pet, rather. Yeah. Also, one thing that I'm seeing, the terrain paint. My terrain paint for some reason was kept on glitching out, and I had to redo it. It only happened once. The other times it did stay, so hopefully it does stay. If you guys do download this lot, but if not, you could always place down some quick terrain paint. It's not really much for the most part, especially in the back garden. There is, I did floor tile, so there is that. Also, this board, I love that these iron columns. I felt that it's just for the decorative detailing. I don't know, that was a very weird thing to like, but I really was drawn to that in particular. Yeah. Also, I'm noticing now it's very dark, the color palette, and maybe that's why I was kind of like unsure how to do the interior, just because the interior felt very colorful. But I think once you're inside, it feels like a different place. Like I said, very cozy, very homely. So I think I did all right with it. I think it came across well. And yeah, here I am just marking the little exterior. I know I do that for most of my builds. I rarely do a home that doesn't have its own fencing in. But yeah, I'm not sure if other Sims will be walking on the lot if you don't have any like fences, because I just haven't done that before. But here it was trying to make it all fully, blocked off, but the look, I didn't really care too much for the look, so I ended up just having it open for the most part. In the front, like you see here. So not much, like, I didn't want to cover it too much. I also did, even though there is no garage, that because it was a garage, I believe, I can't remember how it looked in the original fixer-upper looked like, but I'm pretty sure the space that was meant as a garage was a garage, but I just put a car out in front because it turned into a living room, so obviously it's not going to be space for a car. But yeah, also one thing I wanted to mention about the floors. I'm not sure if this one in particular is a glossy floor, because as you see here how it really is like shiny. But then I was switching out other tiles and they all shined. So I don't know what that was about. I don't think it actually happened in the interiors. I think it was just the outer. But you see here, like all the other ones are shining. Except for that one. Maybe those are like, that's just how the tile is. It could just be that's just how the tiles are. Because I see this brick. See if it shines the same. No. Okay, it just happened to be that I was selecting shiny tiles. Or at least it appears to be. Hopefully that's the thing. Well, not hopefully. I mean, it's not really that bothersome. I really don't mind it. But yeah, this is the terrain paint. Just because that terrain paint, the first one I put down, looks exactly like the one that is on the road, but the color matches. I know that's always an issue with The Sims, is the swatches not matching. So I just went for this one just because I get that as close to the gray as I could. I mean, I could probably have done like layering to make it a bit darker, but it's not like I'm that worried about it. So that was the end of that. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, I did picking doors. I feel like the door was the hardest thing to pick, even though I went for this one, just because the drainage, for some reason I just liked the gold against the warm brick, so wasn't going to settle on changing that, so I ended up trying to find a door to match it well, and then end up on this one here just because it has a bit of that undertones that match the drain. There really was no better reason than that. That was really the only reason. And these windows, I love these windows just because of the, I'm not sure what you call it, the grid, I guess, the like window shape. I really like the look, but it's a bit too bulky for my liking. But because I really liked the grid in the window, I don't exactly know what that is called. But I just didn't. I liked it so much I kept it. But yeah, because we don't really have any like the Georgian style windows. Maybe you can do Snowy Escape, but it's a bit too much of the grid, so I ended up sticking out with these. I'm not sure if I show, but I ended up like not turning them, but coloring the swatch to black instead. But it just felt that the exterior was a bit too much of a, was a bit too dark for my liking, and gave it more of like a gothic or darker tone to it, and I want it to be more homely and welcoming. Because you see here, like, well, it's nice, it just felt a little bit darker. I don't know, it kind of gives me like X-Men vibes. What is that school? The School of the Gifted. kind of maybe that kind of build. I don't know what reminds you of that. It doesn't look like it, but I don't know why I thought of that. But yeah, I ended up sticking with the white, as like I said, just because the door frame has that white, so it's not like that odd to have the white surrounding. I did do flower boxes again to add that color, just because I feel like obviously having color into this is going to be, give it some little more. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into or have you guys see the interior design. While I was very like stressed over it, I'm sure I was stressed because I was doing it for a viewer. I'm sorry, I can't think of your name at the moment, but I know you wanted a cozy homebody. Was the direction you gave me for the build. I hope I didn't do too many packs for this build, just because I was really getting away with, I'm not going at it with all the interior decorations, because lately I've been doing strictly base game. All of a sudden I had freedom to do as many. I had freedom, and then I got carried away. So hopefully it is not too big of a change if you do download it and use it. I also did a apartment that was supposed to come out, but it's gonna come out next week, just because I couldn't figure the floor plan. It is a bit of a tight apartment, so I am doing an apartment version because they said house or apartment, and I thought maybe apartment would be fine, because I've been wanting to build an apartment complex. Like, if you've seen the movie, it's One of Them Days with Keke Palmer and SZA. I've been wanting to build something like that, so I can't think of this apartment styles at the moment, but yeah, I've been wanting to do that. So it's a bit similar to that. Obviously not obviously, you don't know what it looks like, but it's in that kind of style, smaller, but which is why I'm struggling with the floor plan. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of, not recently, but a while ago I saw, I'm not sure if it's an article or interview, but they're saying how there's this artist, and she was saying how people were creative and artists, we are masochists, and I can definitely see that, because while I was stressing out and struggling, I did love like working through that. So in the end, I'm very happy with the look. Also want to say, this floor tile, I ended up changing that. I don't know when that happens, but I changed it to, I'm not sure if I will show it, because I didn't show how I put together the backyard. I thought this video was going to be really long, just because what you're seeing took me an hour just for the exterior. So when I was editing it, it was very long, so I didn't want it to be too long, so I did cut out some things, like the garden, the back garden stuff, also bathrooms, but like I said, I never really do bathrooms. I'm excited for you to see the bathrooms. I rarely showcase how not showcase how I furnish, because I didn't do that. I really add the bathrooms into the video tour. Sometimes I do skip that, but I did keep it in for this build, just because I really loved the look of it. So I'm very excited for you guys to see that, because it's very fun. I really like doing it. I also want to start doing more Let's builds. I feel like maybe that will be easier for me to edit, because then I can also get you guys' opinions as well, and we can kind of like work together to build it. So hopefully I can get into that. I recently got a second, well, not a second monitor, it's a second like travel monitor, just so I can see that things are actually being recorded. But hopefully I can, work out the software and stuff. I'm still trying to figure things out, but yeah, very excited to try that again. Don't know when, but hopefully I will do that. Maybe next week I can find some time. We'll see. That's honestly the biggest challenge, is finding time to sit down and actually record these things. But yeah, let me see what else. I thought we were gonna move on to the interior for a second. Actually we are very soon. I don't actually know what my favorite room is. Here we have the dining room. Like I said, I really want to get it into the front just because I figured if they have, guests. Also the kitchen, that was the biggest challenge. This kitchen has changed probably like 4 times. So this was a struggle. But yeah, I think I did well enough to make it, like I said, cohesive with the other rooms, but I was really struggling with that one. And then what else? Also the living room. I ended up doing, like I said, I was trying to find as much color and warmth, because if you're gonna be at in your home, you want it to feel happy and warm. So I feel like I went across as well, because this is a place I would generally like. I probably would like, if these builds I've done were real, I would definitely live here. Love the aesthetic of this. I will have to player test if everything is usable, just because it is a bit of a tight squeeze for the layout. But yeah, this is the guest bedroom. This is why it's like very like neutral tone, very plain. Didn't take much of a risk either with the main bedroom. It is just like green and blues, so it is a bit darker tone, but again, very simple, just the necessities for the bedroom. And then for the third room, I was thinking of doing another guest bedroom, but I decided to turn it to a home office. Just so they can do their artistic crafts and whatnot. Like I said, I was trying to keep or place down as many activities for a homebody to do. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope this was up to you. You liked this build. Again, I'm sorry I can't recall your name. I wish I had the comment right in front of me. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this speed build and you use this build. And yeah, I'll catch you guys all next week. Bye.